Can the Buffalo Sabres turn their season around? That and more coming up. Welcome back to the Sabres Edge podcast. It has been quite a while for those of you who are counting, but we're glad to be back. And as you can see with me, a little bit of a different look today. We have TJ with us. Why don't you explain to us just a little bit about yourself, maybe how you got into hockey fandom and the Buffalo Sabres specifically?
All right. Well, it's great to be here. Let's see, 37 years old. I've been a fan since I was 7, so that's 30 years of watching them. Family's from Buffalo. Went to college out in Buffalo. It's just been a part of my life. And now for half my life, it seems like a disappointing part.
Yeah, that I think resonates with a lot of Sabres fans. It's been a disappointing part of the majority of my life. So, but hey, I mean, we love it. We're here to talk about it. And yeah, I'm looking forward to getting to know more about you and how you feel about the team and what's going on through the course of this stream and maybe the remainder of the season. So we got some familiar faces in chat. We got Thomas with the palm tree call out. Pete's out there. The sauce is back. Bills fan CA. And I don't think I've seen hashtag cover Kelsey, but welcome. We absolutely root Sabres. So it has been a while, and one of the things that happened during that time period was a very large losing streak. And I know I've seen some comments in our Discord that we haven't been posting because of the losing streak, like we've been avoiding it. No, there's a lot going on, and because of those comments, I feel like it's only right that we do address the losing streak. Now, TJ, are you familiar with how many games we managed to lose in a row?
Oh, I know. We're going to say unlucky 13.
Yep. We managed to get all the way up to 13. And that was, I believe, the third longest lossless streak. They technically call it because we have overtime points. It was the third longest lossless streak in franchise history. So very impressive on us making some history during the 2024-25 season.
Still not as bad as the 97 Chicago Cubs. They started the season 0-17, so there's always that.
That is a very impressive stat. 0-17, huh? Anyway, Tom also knows that it would be a baker's dozen, so we got some people counting. We got some very miserable individuals out here counting. But I'd like to try something new for this stream because I've just been stewing on a lot of information, a lot of losing. Something I think I'd want to point out is what makes up a losing streak. How do you get to the point where you're losing 13 in a row? And then, like, how do you break out of that, right? So if I can... Sorry, again, this is a little experimental. Haven't done this before. Going over to a stream. Now you guys should be able to see my screen. And let's just see how this goes. So this was against Boston. This was one of the later games in our losing streak. So maybe like lost 13, lost 12. And something I just want to point out is the way that we forecheck, and this is late in the losing streak, the way that you forecheck, the way that you pressure teams when you're expecting to get scored on ends up looking a little bit different than you would if you're confident about your game and the way that you're playing, right? So we start the clip here. It's dumped into the zone, and you have Lafferty after it and Kulik following up. So the point of F1 is just to get to the puck first. So Lafferty's in first, and then Kulik has to just follow in and kind of provide support on the direction that the puck swings. So you'll see it moves back to the left, and that's where Kulik is going. He doesn't get to the puck first. Zach Benson's playing F3. He's the middle guy in the ice there. So he's right here, and he's reading the play, and he thinks that that play is lost. In a normal situation, when you're forechecking and you have this 2-1-2 formation, Zach Benson would want to move into the middle of the ice, make it harder for an opponent to break out, make it so that they have to think about where they're passing, which gives your players who are already deep in the zone here some time to maybe like get the puck off their stick, break up their play. But you'll see it's been going very poorly for the Sabres at this point. Again, this is game like 13 or 12 in the losing streak. Zach Benson is going to read here in this area that the puck is not being won by Kulik and Lafferty. So what he's going to do instead of swinging to the middle is he's going to turn around and come back to make it like a 2-3 on the ice. So you'll see here when we continue the clip, he swings back around, and now you're in a 2-3 formation. This is fully, you don't want to have a player like sneak past you and get a breakaway. So you're putting your third man back in line with your defense. And what that does is now this middle of the ice, all Boston. There's no amount of pressure there. You can break it out incredibly easily, and you'll see that happens. Sorry, I'm still getting used to this. You see it happens. They pass it to the guy who was there, and all of a sudden, there's all this space, and Zach Benson, halfway through, thought that maybe they could get it back. So you'll see he turns back around thinking that, oh, shoot, they might get the puck. So he starts skating back forward, and now he's in no man's land. You have the Boston player with the puck and space, Zach Benson pushing back into the zone, not realizing that he's already beat, and a bunch of free time for Boston to break it out almost uncontested. And you'll see the result of this clip is that, sorry, that's supposed to be an eraser. They get it, and they score. So that's just a little bit of kind of the mentality that you get into when you are losing a lot. You make a read and you assume the worst. You're assuming that everything's kind of going to collapse on you. And Zach Benson sees that. He says, my team's not going to get it first. And in a normal 2-1-2 forecheck, you present pressure in the middle of the ice as the third forward so that they can't make that breakout pass so easily. But they miss an opportunity there, and it ends up in our net. Ultimately, this goal was called back on offsides, but it's just a little glimpse into how these things can kind of mess with your psyche and things get worse over time. And I don't know if you watched a lot of the losing streak, TJ, but you could kind of see the frustration setting in over time, and I feel like this is one of the symptoms of that.
I mean, it's just been a lack of breakdown just on hockey fundamentals and hockey IQ. Like I don't know if they're just overthinking it, because like you showed right there, Benson, he was just overthinking it. Maybe it's just, he said like the streak is going on now and it's just weighing on them. But yeah, it's that, and just like a lack of like discipline. Like, come on, you're in the show. This is stuff you learn in mites. Like, yeah. As soon as you start like checking, that's when you start learning how to do coverage like that.
In fairness to Benson in this clip, our system definitely heavily favors not getting badly burned as opposed to making like offensive play.
Yeah.
They are always kind of looking to minimize catastrophe, I think is the best way to describe it. And sometimes it works, as you'll see. None of the plays against us are clean cut breakaways in the clips that I'm going to show you, but it's just the play around is just generally bad or overly just like clear the zone, don't bother. As long as we're back, like we're good. And I don't think that's the way that you should be approaching this.
But also, I think, too, it's just Lindy Ruff. He's trying to do a defensive shutdown style similar to what he did from 97 to 2000 when it's a completely different league now. Like, it's a fast-paced scoring league. He's trying to do, like, boxing one that the Devils did in their heydays in the 90s. You can't do that anymore. Like, the two-line pass has been gone since 05. Like, you got to adapt.
Yeah. And I like that you pointed out details of the game, paying attention to them, because the next one is very much how or about letting details slip. And this is against Toronto. So this was the second game, I want to say, the 6-3 loss.
No, this is more, I think it was middle of the pack before. I think it was like the 6th or 7th game.
Yeah, this is again, this is not the very end of the losing streak, but it's part of how you get there. You're undisciplined. It leads to goals. This is the Friday, December 20th.
Yeah.
Maple Leafs game, 6-3 end result, but already down 4-1. It hasn't been a great game up to this point, but something I just want to point out is when I watch the games, one of the things that really frustrates me, and again, it's closer to it's more of a coaching thing. And then in this clip, it's also just small details of the game, like what are the players doing kind of thing. But one of the things they're being coached to do is just always flip it out. There's not a lot of possessed zone exits. We get a possession in the zone and it's just flip it out. I think that makes sense for some players. Dennis Gilbert, I think, played in this game. You don't want him to be overthinking his game. You don't want Matthias Samuelsson to be trying to make ridiculous breakout passes. But it's difficult because you have Rasmus Dahlin and you have Owen Power and you have Bowen Byram. And those are the players that when you're in your defensive zone, you want it on their stick so they can break it out effectively. And the kind of MO is just flip it into the middle or flip it into center ice, like get it out of your zone and then forecheck. And we don't have a very forecheck built team. I would even understand if you have Beck Malenstein out, like you have the Malenstein, Lafferty, McLeod line out. Fine, flip it out to center ice, forecheck. But this line you'll see, I believe, is Quinn, Cousins, and Peterka. So we roll the tape. We see Peterka picks it up in the middle of the zone. He's not really being pressured. I think it's Timmins here is looking to exit the zone, and you have two other Maple Leafs in the zone, but it's really, you could turn it into the corner. You could make your way down here, or you could just hold it for a second and drift out and turn. But instead, you'll see that the coaching point is flip it out. And so he flips it out and doesn't get quite far enough. You can see you've got a man at center ice, Morgan Rielly there. He's going to scoop up the puck very quickly. He's going to take a couple of steps back, and we see Quinn is F1 on this. He's basically at the bench already. It's been a long shift for them, so he's looking to change, but he does the little drive-by to make sure that there's a little bit of pressure on Morgan Rielly. He can't just push it up immediately. But he is looking to change, and Morgan Rielly knows this, and everyone on the ice knows it. And I'm fine with that change. The issue is, you see, he goes off the ice. We're sneaking a second Sabre forward here. I believe that this was JJ Peterka. And that's the side that's attacked. Morgan Riley notices that we're trying to sneak another player to the bench. It's an undisciplined play. They sneak it up the wall, and you see the result of the play is they break it into the zone immediately. We're scrambling to get back. We're scored on. A simple breakdown like that. You flip it out to center. You'd never, or in a situation where you could have possessed the puck. And I just think that the team is built more for possession than dump and chase. It just is. You do not have the players for like dump and chase. You're not a Tampa Bay Lightning or a Florida Panthers. You're just not built physically for that. Play possession. JJ Peterka is never going to win a dump and chase battle. He's not going to win a board battle. Just play possession. All you have to do is turn back into the zone. Gives you more time. So yeah, punting on first down is kind of the problem that we're having. And it ends up in the back of our net.
And also an issue with that too, like that's also, it was Reimer in that at that point, I believe, because Puka Luukkonen was pulled early for it. I'm just going to say UPL before I butcher it. Give me like players from the 80s like Alexei Zhitnik, Miroslav Shatan, Richard Schmelik, I'll nail it. But the newer guys I struggle with. But that's also on Reimer too. You should have realized, oh, my forwards are gassed. Let me just ice the puck. We'll do a face-off in our zone, get fresh legs out, have a better chance at maybe winning the face-off. Granted, they're not a face-off winning team, minus a few guys here and there, but it would have been probably better to do that than just do a flip pass out of the zone into neutral, give your defensive pair or a whole new fresh set of legs on the ice.
I would agree with you there. Now, have you been focusing a lot on or paying attention to the power play for the Sabres?
Actually, you know what? I pulled up some stats beforehand. Let me get out of my screen. I got my little handy dandy notebook here.
Okay.
If I can get out of here. From my desktop, it's been a while since I've used this, so there we go. There's that. So yeah, we're going to throw some stats in real time. Currently, as of this time, 8:47 p.m. I don't know what the other stats are. I haven't updated real time from scoring and everything. The Sabres are currently 27th out of 32 on the power play. Okay. 20th out of 32 on the penalty kill. They're entering tonight's game with a record of 14 wins, 20 losses, and 4 overtime losses. Top points earner is Thompson with 30 points. Split pretty well, 18 goals, 12 assists, plus 5. And then Tuck is overall leader plus 13. But yeah, those are not good stats. If you look at someone like McKinnon, leads the whole league in assists with 47, Draisaitl with 27 goals, and McDonough has 1 goal in the year, but is a plus 22 point setup for mainly on the power play. Yeah.
So you say 27th on the power play, not great. Our penalty kill is a little bit better, but we know from history special teams can win you games. And when you lose 13 games in a row, your special teams are going cold.
Yeah.
We saw this against Montreal, which was an embarrassing game where we had a hat trick scored against us on the power play by Laine. He got all 3 of his goals on the power play. That was just tough. You put that one behind you. You don't even think about it.
But also we got the pep talk from old man Terry before the game that the solution's in the locker room.
Yep.
No, I'm sorry, it's not. You have to. Well, we can get into that later. I'm sure there might be a discussion on how to fix the team, but we can continue.
But so we had a hat trick against us on the power play alone. And the funny part about that is the penalty kill for us is statistically better than our power play by league averages. So what is going on with the power play? And why is a power play that has weapons like Dahlin and Thompson unable to produce at really an NHL level? So I just want to pull up this clip from the lossless streak as well. This one, again, against Boston. All right. So the thing that I want to focus on here is movement. Watch. This is Dahlin is, in fairness, out at this time. He was dealing with his back spasms. But watch how static the power play is. So it comes up to the point. And we have two looks basically. We have this first one where you are looking at the down low guys kind of flanking the goalie, where you have one on each side for a shot. If it pops out, you're recovering it. And then we have a look where you have a guy in the bumper spot and a guy down low. That's it. That's about it for movement on the power play. So we'll play this out, and you see they actually did drop a third guy down low, but it's still kind of the shooting flank out here. Like Thompson can drift up and down, but that's still shooting flank, and then you still have guys on either side. We continue to play. There's a scramble after the shot, which, by the way, no one in front of the net. No real movement beforehand with the puck. It goes over to Peterka. The goalie gets set. Basic shot. I think it hits his pad and then bounces out. No real danger. They recover the puck, and we get it back to the point. And back to formation. Now we're in formation 2, where we have one guy down low, one in the bumper. And I mean, this is literally just like a straight line. If you're in a diamond formation, and Boston is giving us a lot of time here, but if you are Boston and you're in diamond formation, you don't even really have to worry about the guy in the middle because he's covered with the diamond.
Yeah.
There's no way that you can pass it to him, and therefore our bumper is just kind of useless. So we'll play the rest of this out before I talk more about it, but just maintaining formation, goes back up to the point, maintaining formation, goes over. Korpisalo is set for the one-timer because not a lot going on there.
Yeah, I mean, the PK didn't have to put any pressure on the power play. I mean, this has been a historic thing with the Sabres. You can look back 25 years, with the exception of the 05, 06, from 05 to 07, when they were like first or second in the power play in the league. This franchise has historically been ultra conservative on the power play. I'm not sure if it's just something that's taught like overall in the organization, but it's just almost like lackadaisical. Like they had that whole barrier there, guy flow in the center, but like you said, Boston's in the diamond coverage for it when they set up in the box. It's you don't have to worry about them, and the goaltender's all set to make the save.
Yeah.
I mean, if what they should be doing is bunching it up and just basically at this point just crash the net, like put 3 on there, forget about the perimeter for it, and just crash net, get any rebound, just garbage goals. That's the only way they're really going to start seeing conversions. You're not going to win on the power play if you're just hot dogging it out there, doing just fancy like one-timers.
Yeah. The thing with the diamond formation is you're not just going to get them out of position by playing catch high and low.
Yeah.
Every single good power play in the league has already figured this out. And the issue is there's so much parity in the league. How do you not know this by now? How is the team struggling with this? So we'll play it again. It goes back to Thompson, right? Every good power play in the league does this, where they have the high guys motion around each other. So Thompson gets it back. Byram should go down the wall and Thompson should come up. If they cross over like this defender has to make a choice about who he wants to be guarding. And if he chooses Thompson, it leaves a lot of space for Byram down here with options. Like then Jason Zucker can get more open. You can spread out the defense all of a sudden. And if you don't choose Thompson, if you don't choose Thompson as the defender, then he has a full head of steam going north and south, and you can attack the net that way. It's just so simple. It's been done every single power play in the league that is half decent does this. They all know this. You watch...
The American League knows this too. Like, watch the crunch of the Amerks. They nail, especially the Amerks. That's an impressive unit.
Yeah, but... You watch the Colorado Avalanche. You watch the Dallas Stars. You watch the Montreal Canadiens, and they're running motion on you because it is way too easy for an NHL defense core to just stop you from getting anything meaningful if you're not going to move around. So that's my little bit of frustration with their power play, and part of the reason I think it's been almost impossible for us to really generate special teams points. And we got some comments in the chat.
Yeah, I'm looking at Tom S. Kevin Adams is not going to trade Dylan Cousins to Detroit. In an interdivision rival, he's going to, if anything, he's going to ship him out west like a la Ico and just try to stack up on more prospects. But, I mean, like, you can only have so many prospects before you got to start moving them. Like,
yeah.
They moved, who did they move to Edmonton in the offseason? Who did they trade?
They traded Matt Savoy.
Yeah.
They got Ryan McLeod in return.
Yeah, like, you got to make, like, eventually, like, some of these prospects, they're going to pan out in other teams. They're going to sign with other teams. Some are just probably going to crash and burn. That's just how Major League is. Like, look, Taylor Hall, for example, former Buffalo Sabre, Taylor Hall. Oh, they traded for him. He's like, what, his 9th team in 11 years or something? Like, he hasn't been like he hasn't been as good as promised. Like, but that could be a coaching issue and everything. But yeah, But yeah, to go back to the power play, it's just, I don't want to say they're just going through the motions, but it's any team would do a cycle like that, just some motion just to break the penalty kills deep unit and get a good scoring opportunity. But Buffalo doesn't seem to get that memo.
Yeah. Anyway, Tom S. thinks that the issue is that we're too tired going into the PvP, which fair. The Sabres, they didn't get their pregame nap in. It's really hard if you don't do that. Yeah. Thompson to the wing tonight, and Cousin is center 1 with the top 9 in a blender. So there is a game going on. It starts at 9 technically, but we all know that means like 9:07. We're going to try and be done with the show before the end of the first period. So you'll get to watch the majority of that without having to listen to us. But that's something to look forward to. Maybe they can start a win streak of their own. And then if Cousins gets to Detroit, I'll eat my pin-covered hat. You briefly covered this. Although I don't know if you know this, but we have been scouting each other, us in Detroit. We have sent scouts to each other's games. It seems like maybe there's something in the works. Elliot Friedman, I believe, was reporting.
Yeah, Friedman broke that probably 2 days ago, right after the Christmas break and before New Year's.
Yep, that there might be something going on between them. We don't know the details yet. Might be Cousins, probably not, but he does seem to have some trade value still around the league, which is encouraging. And I know a lot of Sabres fans are pretty low on him right now, so maybe it's a good trade candidate, but we'll see. And then that pin hat is delicious. Tom doesn't like the idea of losing our Yukon boy, and Chris 716 reckons we better win tonight. So here's hoping that we do. Now, we've covered special teams. We've covered just the little details. We've covered the forecheck. But if you get scored on as much as we have during our losing streak, I mean, down the line, it was 3 goals against, 6 goals, 6 goals, 5 goals, 4 goals, 3, 6, 5. Like, we are getting pretty high goals against games. There's going to be a question of what's going on in your own zone. So here is the first game in the losing streak against the Toronto Maple Leafs. This was on the 15th of December. We've got Devin Levi in net, so that's been a while ago for what it's worth. All right, let's just play this out. You'll see the goal, and then I'll explain what happens, why this goes wrong. So they're just getting a little bit of cycling on us. They get us moving there off of a rebound. And good pass to the slot. Shot into the corner of the net. That looks pretty standard. That looks like an NHL goal that a high-level team scores. You know, you're moving the puck around. You're getting the rebound. But
you got traffic in front of the net, in front of Levi. Like,
Exactly.
Hockey 101.
The Leafs did great with this one. However, anytime you get scored on, something did go wrong. So we can look at this and we can say the way that the Sabres try and play defense in their own zone is a hybrid of man and zone. That is by far the most effective way to play defense. If you watched the cup-winning Florida Panthers, that's what they did. They did it at an elite level. They had a little twist to theirs because Barkov is so good instinctually. He knows where to be, when to be there, that they kind of let him be a little bit of a free man in transition so that they can move him out. But the Winnipeg Jets are doing it. I think that the Dallas Stars use a hybrid system. The best teams in the league figure out how to use a hybrid system in their own zone. It's more complicated than just zone or man, but if you can do it right, it pays off. Unfortunately for the Sabres, as we've already shown, they're not that disciplined. They're not great at the little things that make this work. So right at the start of the clip, you can see it's been put kind of low in the zone. How hybrid works is if it's high in the zone, so if it's out here, you're playing man. And if it's low in the zone, below there, you're playing zone. So you can see right now, the forwards are all backing up, collapsing into zone from man as it's been passed down. So what we're going to look at is just kind of the confusion that goes on as they try and figure this out. So we're collapsing into zone. There's our zone structure, kind of like pentagon, I believe is 5. So you got,
Rhombus.
Yeah, you got your funny rhombus. You got the hockey rhombus going on. And that's the zone structure. Now we continue to play it. This is weird because when it's behind our net, we send someone to chase. Oftentimes it's a defenseman, but you can see here we have Bryson up against the boards where it was first lost. So we're sending Tage Thompson under because we keep one of our defensemen in front of the net, where normally it would be the center for, I think, a lot of teams. But yeah, so we're sending Thompson in to chase. And I mean, just look at where he's coming from. There's infinite time for this Leafs forward.
Yeah.
So we run that, and Thompson does not get there in time. Who would have guessed? Now he's stuck behind the net, and the next guy has way too much time. He gets back into position. We've reassembled our rhombus. Good for us. Slapped across. That creates a little bit of confusion for our team. The offenseman, I think that's Pacioretty, was kind of pushing upwards. And so JJ Peterka thought that meant get into man. So you can see now he's caught way back here when he should be pushing into here. Again, these are just little things that are constantly happening in our defense because they don't understand or are just maybe not capable of playing this fluid hybrid zone. So now you have JJ out of position because of that kind of pushing up and then across. There's where the first rebound happens, and that's what really kind of puts us out. And before that happens, I want to point out where Gilbert and Thompson are. So they're back here, and they have one man in front, so they're going to have to figure out who gets that man and kind of who gets the side in case a shot goes out. And you'll see when the shot pops out exactly where you'd think a shot could pop out. They're both collapsing on the man. So now you have the puck entering into space, and a Leafs player is going to recover it because Thompson and Gilbert both collapsed man. And then Gilbert's late to pick up the man again because there was so much time and space. And that is what leads to John Tavares with so much time in the slot to score. So again, bunch of little things build into how you get scored on in your own zone, a bunch of just small mental mistakes, mental lapses that the teams at the highest levels, they're doing all this stuff. They're just doing it well. Like they're doing the same exact system, but it's disciplined into them. They know where they need to be at any given moment. And we just don't. In the simple breakdown where it didn't even look like it at face value, it looks like a great play by the Leafs. They are just possessing well. They're using a lot of movement. Again, movement throws off defense. But none of this can happen if we aren't constantly throwing ourselves out of position because we just don't know where to be. So that's it for the kind of past. That's it for the losing streak and our video breakdown. Now I just want to talk a little bit before we leave to let you guys all watch the game. Talk a little bit about what's coming up, what we got in the future, and is there a way to turn the season around? So after the losing streak, I believe we've been 4-1, picking up some wins against the Islanders, Blackhawks, Blues. Actually, we're 3-1.
Yeah, 3-1. We won the first 3 after the streak, and we lost to Dallas on New Year's Eve. And now, I mean, looking at the scratches for tonight, looking at the projected lineup for it on here. So the Avs have a lot of injuries. So Nesterkin is still out with lower body. Ivan, upper body. Killington, undisclosed Landeskog knee, but that's been known. Pullman, head, and then Wood. That's about 6 players on the Avs bench, on the Avs injured bench. That could be a factor. So maybe they'll squeak out with a point tonight.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, but yeah, if you look at tonight's projected lineup, it's actually Cousins is center for line 2. Projected as a starting lineup is Zucker, Tage, and Tuck on line 1 for forwards. Then we have Dowling and Byram for the defensive pairing, and then Reimer and net for it. So whoever, I believe it was Tom S. who said that Cousins was center 1 tonight. Just wanted to correct that.
I think that probably based on the lines from practice, if you're looking at the game preview that like Google makes or whatever, that's generally auto-generated. It's not always right. So
all right, well, puck drop is about to start right now. We got
we can see who's out there. But while that's happening, I would just like to say this worldly writer says, "Rip Alex McGillney," and that had me Googling. I didn't think Alex McGillney is dead, and the Google search doesn't say anything, so hopefully nothing's happened and you're not breaking this to us, but yeah.
Let's take a quick look on the interwebs.
Yeah, that scared me a little bit. Either way, so in the immediate future, the Sabres have a game against the Avalanche, and then in the upcoming week, they've got the Golden Knights, Capitals, and Senators. Honestly, pretty difficult grouping of teams. The Golden Knights, not too far removed from a Stanley Cup win, and still with their elite players, they're always going to be hard out. The Senators actually have been very good recently. They've been making a lot of progress. I think they're in a playoff spot as of right now. And the Capitals, last I had seen, were first in the Metropolitan, which has some strong contenders such as the Devils and Hurricanes. So kind of a tough week up ahead. How many points do you think that the Sabres need to get, including this game, for them to even remain competitive? Because I think if they lose all 4 games this week, it's just kind of over.
Yeah, we're at the halfway point of the season. I think just looking right now on just the stats overall, I mean, Winnipeg, the Devils are at 41 to open the season with us, so their benchmark, everyone's at 41 at the high point with the Devils, and the lowest being Tampa Bay at 34, just how the schedule is set up this year. If they have to at least win one of these games, it's most likely Ottawa is probably the easiest of the three. Like, still, if that it's not a gimme like it has been. It's never been a gimme with playing Ottawa for some reason. But out of those, they would have. So out of those, what was it?
It's 4 games, I believe.
Four games.
Yep.
I would say you'd have to get 5 out of 8 points just to be competitive, which that's a big ask.
It's weird to even think that you could be competitive after the 13-game losing streak, but the saving grace for the Buffalo Sabres right now, for fans who still want to hold that hope, is that there is a path to a playoff spot because the division is so weak in the wild card spots. You have some very strong teams at the top. I mean, the Maple Leafs, the Panthers, and then in the Metropolitan, you have Caps, Devils, Hurricanes. But after that, it falls off a bit. You have in our division, the Bruins and the Lightning, and then the Senators have 40 points to get into a playoff spot right now. In the West, the cutoff line is 43. So there's a little bit of grace there, just that our division past kind of the top is pretty weak. So you have, again, just a little bit of wiggle room. And if you're a Sabres fan, you're looking 8 points out right now. If you manage to collect all 8 points in this next stretch, all of a sudden, that stretch also has a game against Ottawa, who's in a spot right now. All of a sudden, you're not that far out, probably. So I think the question that we asked at this very start of the stream, can the Sabres turn their season around, is very dependent for me on the next week and a half or so, where if you can accumulate a lot of points, for me, I need to see 6 in this next 3 or 4 games. I need to see 6 points, and then maybe we can have a conversation about can they claw their way back into a spot. But that's the way forward, and it's just basically have a weak division. So we lucked out there.
Hang on 1 second. My dog is.
Yeah, so while TJ fixes, TJ waits out his dog barking, I'm just going to let you know, we're going to try to be more consistent with these live streams. The issue
barking.
Oh, perfect.
No, as I was going to say, like, they have to 5 or 6 points, but no matter what, 2 of those points cannot be has to be against Ottawa in the division, no overtime, just a straight regulation win. That'll be a big help if they can even turn it around at this point of the season.
Yeah. That in-division game is going to be huge for us. The Ottawa Senators have won 7 of their last 10 games, so they are on a pretty good stretch right now. That's part of what's ascended them into a playoff position. Whether or not they can stay hot will be seen, I guess. But obviously the hope is not. But yeah, we will find out. Again, I think we're going to be winding down the stream now. The Sabres have officially had puck drop. They're 4 minutes into the game against the Avalanche. Luckily, we haven't been scored on yet. I would like to point out that Worldly Rider is a just propagandist at this point, just writing a ton of fake news into our chat. So I appreciate the engagement, but don't will this into the world. I don't appreciate that.
No, come on. We need Josh Allen to be healthy.
Oh yeah, but yeah, we're gonna try and be more consistent with this show. I don't know, TJ, if you're gonna be around for a lot, but we're gonna. If not, you'll see a lot more of my face, maybe just alone. But Sabres Edge will be hopefully more frequent for you guys and more on top of things so that we're not covering 6 weeks of content that we missed. But yeah, thank you so much, TJ, for being here, for helping out in a pinch. And hopefully we'll see you next week. If not, your appearance was greatly welcomed, and we were happy to have you.
No, great to be here. I'm glad finally to have my schedule work out for it. I think I think I'll be able to do more appearances in the future now that things are starting to settle down here, and I'll try to make better notes. I feel like I came unprepared for tonight, and I know I have to get headphones and a microphone because we don't need a dog barking like right at the very end.
You know what? We appreciate your dog. We're sure they're absolutely just a fantastic dog outside of the barking. Make sure to give some extra treats and pets on our behalf. But
he gets enough. He's a corgi. He's about 10 pounds overweight now because my son feeding him treats all the time. He's just a sausage link at this point.
Well, you got to send some pictures into the Discord. And if you guys haven't already yet in the chat, we have a Discord where we are pretty attentive. I'll talk in there, talk about the most recent games. So it's more like live chat. Other than that, make sure to like, subscribe, turn on notifications so that you can always be up to date with when we go live. Thank you guys and enjoy the rest of the Sabres game currently going on.
Have a great night, guys. I will drop a dog picture in just a moment.
Thank you.
You're welcome. There it is.